Is anything broken? You better respect your horse.
Kody ran over and started yelling at me, which was funny. And I was like,
my neck is hurting. I definitely have some nice whiplash.
I didn't lose consciousness. I felt my head hit really hard and I kind of was like, saw-star.
I was just having fun.
I know.
I never get to have fun.
Well, you scared me when you're laying here and not moving.
For a little bit.
You sure?
Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because this is...
Kody really outdid himself with Robyn, didn't he? She tells him she hit her head and is in pain, and his brilliant solution: take off her helmet, completely ignoring her crying out in agony. And of course, he's cracking jokes about how she went flying, with the show even flashing back to the moment for extra dramatic effect. Then he proceeds to scold her and keeps laughing while she's telling him how badly she's feeling. Dr. Kody diagnoses her as perfectly fine, despite her telling him otherwise. But hey, it's all part of the show, right? He's laughing, not listening, and moving on to their next stop. Now, let's unpack this. There are a couple of ways to look at this scene. Firstly, devaluation in progress. Kody's just flat out stopped caring about Robyn. He's treating her worse and worse, but is too lazy to find someone new to replace her. We've all heard people say they stay in relationships they don't want because they still want the perks. Hello, consistent sex, but don't want to put in the effort to date someone else. Secondly, staged drama, or maybe this whole thing was set up for drama. Maybe they thought showing Robyn getting hurt, because of course she's already said she doesn't like the vehicles, would get viewers to sympathize with her, while Kody laughing it off would make him seem like the fun guy. Yeah, I don't think that landed the way they thought. Or maybe it's something else entirely, but regardless, this scene did not work. If Kody's acting like this on camera, his best behavior, then I shudder to think how he acts without the cameras around. Honestly, I'm starting to think what we really need is Big Brother-style cameras in the house 24/7. And I totally agree with you, his reaction is honestly concerning. My husband shows more empathy when I stub my toe than Kody did when Robyn launched off that ATV. Is this some deep-seated narcissism? Like, if it's not about him being hurt and getting attention, it's just not worth his time. Does he not value Robyn? Or is he just clueless about the real risks of head injuries and spinal trauma? Maybe he saw a potential insurance payout and decided moving her was worth it. It's hard to take Kody seriously when he's always claiming that the ex-wives are jealous of Robyn. Jealous of what? They all seem so much lighter, happier, more at ease, while Robyn looks like she's carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders. I genuinely feel bad for her as a person. This scene could be part of something bigger, but it definitely seems like Kody's turning on Robyn. He's blaming her more and dismissing her feelings more, and without the rest of the family around, she's his sole target. Honestly, it feels like it's only a matter of time before Robyn gets treated like Mary, Janelle, and Christine. The honeymoon phase is officially over. And let's not forget that Robyn herself said it was funny that Kody yelled at her. Then, in a separate conversation, he admits to wanting to leave her during multiple arguments. Yeah, things aren't looking good for them. For Robyn, I think the favorite wife allure is gone. And for Kody, he's definitely at a breaking point, mentally, emotionally, or both. We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Elena here, and welcome back to my channel Reality Nexus X. Aurora's desperate plea for Kody to baptize her. It hit way too close to home. Honestly, it reminded me of when Maddie practically begged him to marry her. I recognize that moment all too well because it's the exact same dynamic I saw growing up with my narcissistic dad. The game is always the same. You have to do everything you can to get the attention and love you crave. Throw your needs at the narcissist's feet, give them every opportunity to feel adored, and hope maybe they'll show up for you in some meaningful way. Spoiler alert, it usually doesn't happen when you need it. But like Maddie, Aurora will eventually learn real love isn't some kind of transaction. It isn't something you should have to earn with a performance. It's supposed to be given freely, no strings attached. And honestly, Robyn's kids get a lot of hate, but I can't help but feel for them. They've been taught to grovel at the narcissist's feet, to bend over backward to earn his love and approval. I just hope one day they'll realize that love was never meant to be this hard, and that they'll choose a different path before it's too late, especially in their own relationships. I watched that staged baptism with Aurora and felt my heart break for his other kids. Seriously, how did I feel watching this garbage? It's like a never-ending circus of performative love. Meanwhile, Kody's taking Robyn's adult kid to get her ears pierced, but his own minor child, Usable, has to fly across the country alone for spine surgery. Yeah, that's not selfish or ignorant at all. Zero self-awareness. And don't get me started on how any woman could be married to that for so long. It's honestly beyond me. I had a stroke earlier this year, and I'm in my 30s, healthy by most standards. I needed surgery and had to relearn to walk. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, and during my recovery, I couldn't stop thinking about Usable, who was a minor, having her own major surgery, needing to relearn to walk. But her dad, not only did he ask her to go through it all alone, but he didn't even bother picking up the phone when Christine called after the surgery. He didn't care enough to know how Usable was doing, or if she was okay. Every surgery has risks. It's beyond cruel to leave your child, especially a minor, to deal with something like that all on their own. I honestly can't imagine ever forgiving my father if he did that to me. And the fact that Christine didn't immediately cut him off after that. Honestly, it's changed how I view her, too. But of course, there's Kody, shedding tears over baptizing Aurora, playing the caring father role while he's busy being totally absent when his actual child needs him. And then there's Robyn, sitting right there with him, fully complicit in all of it. It's just disgusting. I hope the kids grow up and make better choices, but at this point, I'm not holding my breath. I'm absolutely furious just thinking about Kody's behavior, especially when he goes on and on about how proud he is of Aurora and Ari, acting like they're the epitome of success. It's infuriating when you compare it to how he treats his own son, Garrison. Garrison busted his ass to achieve things, and what does Kody do? He totally shoots him down at every turn. Take the car, for example. Garrison finally gets the car he's always dreamed of, and Kody's response is, "That's a dumb choice, you're just going to crash it." Really? That's the support he offers. But that's just the beginning. Garrison works his butt off to save enough money to buy a house by himself in his early 20s. And does Kody, his father, show up to see it? Nope, didn't even bother. If you asked me, Kody actively tried to mess with Garrison's chances of owning a home. During coronavirus, when Garrison was finally close to having enough for a down payment, Kody was pushing to kick him out. And when Janelle tried to explain how close Garrison was to being financially ready, Kody didn't care. It was like he was trying to throw every roadblock in his son's path. What Kody doesn't realize, or maybe he does and just doesn't care, is that he's acting like Warren Jeffs. Kody treats his sons just like Jeffs treats his followers, as competition. Grown men, fathers no less, getting resentful of their own sons just because they're growing up and learning to think for themselves. It's pathetic. And worse, they do everything they can to undermine their sons to preserve their own egos and control. It's disgusting. Then you have Aurora, who's all proud of her big achievement as a 20-something. She got her ears pierced. But don't worry, she did it the right way, with permission, like any good little cult member. It's honestly embarrassing to compare the two. And don't even get me started on Mary, Christine, and Robyn. They're just as bad. This entire cycle of dysfunction is endless, and it makes me so angry. The worst part? The adults didn't even leave the AUB until most of the kids were already adults, if not on the verge of it. Truly might have a shot at escaping this mess because she's away from Kody, but Ari and Saul are stuck with him, and it's heartbreaking. I can't help but feel sorry for Robyn's kids. This is my first time watching the series, And based on what I'm reading here, it seems like Kody's biological kids are getting the short end of the stick, all while Robyn's kids are apparently being prioritized. But hey, I'm not that far along yet, and I can't stop thinking about how sad it must be for Dayton, Aurora, and Brina as they go through all of this. Let's start with Robyn's unforgettable speech from a few seasons ago, where she basically said her biggest mistake in life was giving away her purity, which led to her pregnancy with Dayton. That's just, wow. I cannot believe a mother would say something like that in front of her kid. She essentially called his very existence her biggest regret. Ouch. Now, I'm on season 9, and here we are with the whole divorce and adoption drama. So, Robyn's ex-husband signs away his parental rights to his kids, and Kody and Robyn announce it to them, on camera, no less. Then, they have the audacity to criticize Dayton and Brina for not being thrilled. Brina looked like she might burst into tears, and Aurora actually did cry. But of course, they spun it as a happy tear moment until Mary, in her usual insightful manner, suggested, maybe she's really sad. Yeah, no kidding, Mary. I honestly don't know anything about Robyn's ex-husband, but from what Robyn's told us, which, let's be real, is probably not the whole truth, he comes off as a bit of a deadbeat. Still, it's clear they've effectively cut him out of these kids' lives, and that's not okay. The look on Dayton's face when he was told about the adoption was absolutely heartbreaking. He was blindsided. You could see the shock in his eyes. It was awful. And honestly, the adoption wasn't even necessary. These kids have been nothing but pawns in Robyn's effort to rewrite her history. Also, that whole purity speech was just so weird and completely insensitive. Robyn was practically in tears over it, acting like she lost her virginity during a drunken one-night stand, when in reality, she was talking about her first husband and their planned kids. It's so bizarre. Lately, I've been wondering if the move from Utah to Vegas had less to do with fears of legal trouble for polygamy and more to do with avoiding custody issues with Robyn's ex. That actually makes more sense to me now. It's honestly so frustrating to watch everything Robyn has done since she first met Kody. She's moved these kids far away, forced them to call a guy they've just met dad, slowly erased any connection they had with their real father, and then guilt-tripped them for not being excited that he gave up his parental rights. And as the years have gone by, she's isolated them more and more, making sure they have no relationship with the other wives or their siblings. It's not hard to see why the kids look so sad in their interviews. I just hope the girls get out of that house sooner rather than later. They deserve so much better than this. Robyn and Kody, the perfect match made in some warped, bizarre reality. Speaking Kody apparently means Robyn plays translator for all the nonsensical rambling that spews out of his mouth. She takes his verbal vomit, adds a sprinkle of her own manipulation, and serves it back to him as the exact thoughts and opinions she wants him to have. And like a trained puppy, he just nods and says, yeah, that's what I meant," as if that's ever actually what he meant. It's painful to watch. He's so far gone, completely terrified of losing Robyn, that he's lost all semblance of who he once was. He's a shell of a man, constantly trying to figure out how to keep her happy and look good in her eyes. Robyn is his kryptonite, no question. And no wonder all the OG3 have repeatedly said they don't even recognize him anymore. If I were Christine and Janelle, I'd be cringing at the thought of the man they once fell for too. Take that moment with Mary, for instance. Kody's rambling away, and Robyn basically tells him to shut up and hold his thoughts hostage until he can spit out exactly what she wants to hear. Classic Robyn move, control the narrative and make him think it's his idea. She's got this manipulation thing down to a science. Kody doesn't even need to speak for himself at this point. She just does it for him, all while acting like the dutiful, submissive wife. It's almost sad how much he's grown accustomed to this, and frankly, it's the perfect arrangement for him. Why bother thinking when she can just tell him what to say, right? Let's not pretend Robyn is all sunshine and rainbows either. She's a gold digger, plain and simple. Deep down, I'm not even sure she really likes Kody. She's perfectly content not having to work, not having to look after kids, thanks nannies, while she manipulates him into thinking he's still in charge. He's so far removed from reality, he doesn't even question it. She's controlling an adult man while making it seem like she's just this sweet, submissive wife. It's exhausting. And then there's this notion of they just get each other, which is true in their own messed up, toxic way. It's not necessarily love. It's more like a mutual understanding of how to exploit each other's weaknesses. Sure, Kody and Robyn have their own little bubble, where everything is easy, and they're allowed to indulge in their most selfish desires without judgment. But what they fail to understand, or just don't care about, is how their actions affect everyone else outside of that tiny bubble. That's the thing with these kinds of couples. They thrive in their own delusion, and the rest of the world can just deal with the aftermath. Sometimes, even the biggest assholes manage to find love in their own bizarre way. So, let me get this straight. Robyn and Kody are living the high life, but where does that leave Christine, Mary, and Janelle? Oh right. Janelle's chilling in some student apartment while Robyn's lounging in a $1 million mansion. Seems totally fair, right? I mean, has Robyn even worked a day in her life? You'd think with all this family bonding and spiritual marriage, someone would have pulled their weight by now. But no, apparently not. Here's my wild theory. Kody's been taking a salary right off the top of the family pot, like a CEO of Kody Brown Family Entertainment, or whatever nonsense he's called it. And over time, he's started skimming even more because, someone has to pay for both his and Robyn's insane credit card bills. I mean, the amount these two have probably siphoned out of the family could only be uncovered by some forensic accountant. If you can even find one who's brave enough to dive into that mess. Now, let's talk about the OG3. They actually had side hustles. Christine was running her own thing, Mary was probably scheming with her little online store, and Janelle, well, she was working regular jobs, gasp, even through college. Meanwhile, Robyn and her 3 oldest kids have apparently never had a job outside of the show. That's weird, right? I'm not saying they're lazy, but someone has to wonder why that is. Oh, and don't get me started on Kody. The guy's terrified of being broke. Yet somehow it's everyone else's fault when they're struggling. Let's be real. The man's a narcissistic mastermind, so it wouldn't surprise me if he's been hiding assets and money from everyone, including Robyn. And let's face it, if she leaves him, she's gonna rake in a ton of child support and alimony. So I'd bet he's squirreled away a nice little stash just for her. Call it a rainy day fund, or maybe just a Kody doesn't want to get caught fund. But seriously, we all know there's been some shady spending going on. Who's to say how much? But Janelle's got the student apartment, plus that trailer, plus probably storage fees stacked up. So I'm guessing her monthly expenses are like a fraction of what Kody and Robyn are throwing down every month. The $1 million mansion lifestyle. Classic. Does Kody really not understand what skinny dipping is? Newsflash, buddy. No one goes skinny dipping with their children. It's swimming totally naked. Not prancing around in your ridiculous black briefs. Seriously, what an idiot. Also, PSA. Realtors could not care less about your sob story involving your whiny exes. They're only in it for the commission. Leave that poor guy alone. He's just trying to make a living. What a trooper. As I was watching, I couldn't help but think, there's no way production didn't tell the realtor to just let Kody run his mouth to create a memorable scene. The way he pretended to care about anything had me dying. Janelle getting a lawyer. Classic move. Honestly, I love that she's actually standing up for herself, fighting for the money and property she put into Robyn's house. But legally, I'm not sure she's got much of a case unless her name's on the deed. If it's not, Well, there's not really much she can do, is there? Sure, if her name's on the property, she's got a claim. But without that paperwork, it's just wishful thinking. And seriously, if I were one of Kody's kids, that would be the absolute last straw. If I was still trying to have a relationship with Kody and found out he was treating Janelle and Mary like this, I'd be furious. Like, how is he this selfish and petty? It's so clear that no one is asking for more than they're entitled to. It's just disgusting how Kody and Robyn are handling this, and it makes you wonder, why is it so hard for them to do the right thing? Now, as for the legal side, it depends. If Janelle just handed over the money as a gift, then she's probably out of luck. She'd have had to sign something saying it was a gift, and that's game over. But if she funneled money through the family LLC to pay for the house, especially with Robyn saying it was supposed to be a family asset, well, that changes things. She could definitely have a case there. And don't forget, Kody strikes me as the kind of guy who dodges responsibility at every turn. If there's anything shady going on with tax evasion or misuse of LLC funds, Janelle might have enough ammo to make him squirm. She could even drag those financial records into court. And if that happens, Kody might decide paying her off is a lot easier than exposing something worse. But here's the kicker. If Janelle got that lawyer over a year ago, we're talking, 1.5 years now. Not much seems to have changed, does it? Coyote Pass is still a dirt lot, undeveloped and unsold. Kody and Robyn just put their house up for sale, but who knows why they're really doing that? The plot thickens. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and much love to you all.